Hello and welcome to another session of Godbound. This game is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have an online convention coming up at the end of March, the last weekend of March, which I think is the 24th through the 27th, where we have a couple dozen games that are on the calendar. It's free to sign up. And we've got a variety of different games there. Our goal is to kind of onboard people, show people if you haven't had a chance to play with our community or haven't had a chance to play online. It's a great chance to try that out. And registration for that is beginning March the 1st. It's a Tuesday at noon. So you can follow the links on that website, gauntlet-rpg.com, to find that. Last time, our heroes fought the storm. They fought the storm and they fought the dragon, and they were able to bring both to a halt. Not defeating their enemies, but being able to bring them to a halt, and in the latter case, being able to maybe begin some kind of accord. And we'll come back to that in a moment. But last time, our heroes also got enough XP to level up. So we are going to start by talking with our players about what decisions they've made. The big things is that they have some more points to spend on words. They also have the opportunity to establish a new background, a new fact background for their character. If there's something that they've been thinking about from this last little arc of sessions, they can put that into play. So I think first chair this time is Threadless. I didn't even notice you were cleaning your glasses there. You are muted.
Well, now that I can see better, or at least with less smudginess,
Sure.
I'm sure that I'll be quick to my answers. So how many points do we get when we level? Is it the 2?
I believe it is 2 points.
All right. So I can choose either a greater gift or 2 smaller gifts, right?
That is correct.
I haven't thought about it at all, Lowell.
Okay.
So I am the worst of your players. I'm sure everyone else has a fine thing all planned out.
Well, you have 4 words to choose from, so you've got a wide range.
Lots of choices. Exactly the problem.
Probably should look at luck, just because you've only bought, I think, 1 of those so far.
So you mean you don't think I'm lucky enough?
No, I'm saying if you spent all the points to buy it as an extra word,
Truth.
you should get your money's worth out of that effectively.
All right. There. I will see if there is something that calls to me immediately. That will be the first I look at. Okay.
Have you thought about maybe, let's ask this other question here, about what other fact background you might want to establish, maybe something that has been called on for a role that maybe you've developed, or something new you want to have as a talent? Have you thought about that at all?
I've thought about it, but I haven't come to articulating it correctly. Absolutely.
That is fair.
So that is what I'm going to work on, is finding the words that are correct and appropriate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give us experience. Give us experience. We want to level up. And then when it actually comes
to. I absolutely want to level up, but then you get there and it's analysis paralysis. So
fair enough. Don't forget to make your luck roll as well. Dan, let's talk with you about your choices. Now, you had built this word of bureaucracy.
I wrote a word. Yeah, bureaucracy.
Do you want to invest in that this time? Have you saved up enough points for that?
Yes, I believe I've got 4 points available to me. So I will buy the word, and then I will buy one of the lesser gifts from the word. I'm not sure which one. yet. And I was thinking about, by the way, if you all want to read about the word, here's my Google Doc with the word written up. I was thinking about a fact related to being in love with a ghost. I think Ordevi, and Evedra, despite being as worldly as they are, this may be the first time that he is in love. And I think it sort of introduced some new sort of ways to be kind of in touch with himself, right? Sort of a level of self-awareness is sort of what I'm getting at.
I like that. Like love opens the world, or
Yeah.
Seeing the world through lovers' eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's, we all know, has treated many of his even closest friends very poorly. And I'm wondering if this is sort of a stepping stone to growth, where maybe he is not quite so abrasive. Doesn't see people merely as objects that are getting in his way.
I think that's an interesting consideration. Have you thought about which of your lesser gifts you'd want to start out with?
That's a good question. I wrote this a long time ago, and I don't remember them.
Fair enough. Well, why don't you take a look through there and see if there's anything. I also want to, something we didn't do when Sherry added her word. I'd like to do a scene where we kind of go back to Sherry and talk about, like, when you received this new word of luck, what that was like. And then I want to do that for everybody who is taking a new word, to kind of get that image out there. Let me hit carriage return and come back to Ransom.
Yes. I also have taken a new word.
Okay. And we've looked over that, and this is your word of leadership.
Correct. And so at its base, it's going to give me a charisma score of 16 or 18 if it was already 16. So I took it up to 16. And I can communicate with any intelligent creature, understanding them and being understood in turn. Their commands are always correctly understood, though obedience will depend on the eloquence or use of a gift.
And when we say creature, let's say creature with a formal language.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Well, I mean, it does. Intelligent creature is the qualifier on here.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We'll kind of run the what the haziness is there on that.
Okay,
it certainly counts the animals that you have the power to communicate with through your other gifts.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was primarily just people's, but cool. Nice. And I get, I had enough for one minor or one lesser gift. And I'm at the moment, I'm trying to decide between my second in command power, which would give me a bond with a trusted follower, or if I want to do I have one that's kind of cool to build, boost up like city-sized places to kind of give them better morale and stuff. Or
that's not a bad call, considering the aftermath that you were walking into today.
Yeah, that's a thought there. So I'm thinking on it. I will come to that decision shortly.
Okay, absolutely.
And I have put a new fact down, but I'm not sure how. I put down defender of those he leads, but I don't know if that seems great or not. I'm so bad with these facts.
What here's the thing that I would think about too, is if you put like new fact like in brackets there, this is the way I've done it when I've played, is I wait until there's time, like when I'm going to make a roll and I'm like looking for something that fits with my background that will fit with the role. If you're uncertain about that, feel free to kind of set that as, okay, I'm going to define something, like if I need to make a roll, to do this thing, I'll establish a fact that fits with it.
Okay, that's what I'll do then.
Okay. Awesome. And that brings us to Tassos, comma, the dread of night.
Very fancy, so fancy. So I went with a gift that I had looked at using in that last fight and had run up against some of the limitations of it, but I still like it, so I want to take it. And it's the Greater Endurance gift, Undying, which is, while you can be brought to 0 hit points, mutilated, or burnt, you cannot actually be killed except by the effect or aid of a word-powered gift, divine miracle, or gift enhanced attack. Which, when she stole my claws, I was like, damn it, that counts. Or when he did, rather.
Right.
But if not slain, you regenerate back to 1 hit point in an hour from your largest remaining piece.
That does seem horrible enough to fit with your character's conception.
Yeah, and it goes sort of with his plasmic form and their like constant assertion that their body isn't made out of body, it's made out of dream stuff and nightmare and terror and things, and now it sort of is.
I like it. I like it that over time you have become more this dream realm that you have built. Okay. And have you thought about fact?
They're my bane. I don't get them. They don't
New
stick
fact
with
in
me.
parentheses.
I think I have like 5 boxes that are like new fact parentheses.
Well, what your level 6 now, so you should have 8 facts, right? Because you had 3 at level 1.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, you think about that. I see that your luck roll, Threadless, is someone's bane this evening.
Correct. So if someone's rolling against me, they may regret it.
Yes, fair enough. So, Threadless, let's go back to this question of luck, and we may slash back because this happened a few months ago. What was that? I don't know if apotheosis is the right word, but what was that manifestation, that arrival of that gift into your portfolio like? Had it always been there and you just realized it? Was it something that came to you anew? Was it something else? What do you think?
Do you remember early on in that first city that we went to, and I picked up that cursed hookah? I think
Yes.
it was. Yes. I think someone touched the hookah, and essentially what the thing is that typically when someone takes that curse off, it also grants that person a bit of luck. But because I have that touch of divinity, the luck that I got actually became more of a demence, if that makes any sense.
So that sort of the anti-curse
Exactly.
from having that lifted up kind of put a seed that has grown. Like, at what point did you realize that? Was it immediate? Was it over time?
I don't think, I'm not entirely sure she realizes.
Oh, okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
that there is a certain amount of, like, when someone or herself is having a bad time, she kind of wills that, things will go better in that sort of very hopeful way. Sometimes they do, if that makes any sense. And I have taken a minor gift from luck. That means that if I'm particularly displeased with someone, they'll have a very, very bad time, it turns out.
Oh, blighted luck.
Yeah, it's blighted luck. A fine story. How do you say? Hey, one of my favorites. So
Yes.
there you go.
They will always lose games of chance. bad things of varying non-fatal character will always happen to them. That is a terrible curse.
It is a terrible curse.
All right. So Professor Evedro, this word of bureaucracy, does it feel like an entirely new thing that has arisen? Does it feel like something that has grown off from the work that you've already done? Like how did that come to be in your conception of yourself or your realization of what you can do?
Yeah, I think I was not really even aware of it until we started the school, and there became a real need to organize people into systems that produced value for others, that sort of created processes and things like that. And at first I assumed this was sort of an offshoot of the knowledge, or that I would just sort of know things that were happening in the school. And I think at the same time, I started to come to realize that there were things that I knew that weren't necessarily, one might not consider facts, or sort of, but just sort of the general efficiency of a particular system, or whether something was slightly out of place in terms of how people were getting their work done. And again, I don't know that we know these as words, but I came to understand that I was exposed to a new kind of knowledge. I think even when we encountered the other ship, the other ships, those are sort of mini bureaucracies of, people operating a ship, and I kind of felt a little bit of a tug there as well, sort of an understanding of how those crews all worked together.
Let me ask you this. Do you imagine that this sense of bureaucracy is purely about that kind of efficiency and, consultant overview kind of expert? How, or is it a broader thing that encompasses like how people feel about the organization, about their emotional connection and motivations within it?
That's good. I certainly the way I wrote all the gifts, and certainly the way Evedro would embody this, is it's very much about sort of people as cogs and machines, right? Sort of people as producing, serving a greater purpose. Whether they feel happy or sad about that is immaterial to Evedro. Maybe if someone else picked up this word, they would have a different perspective on it.
Interesting. Okay. Very utilitarian. Okay.
Yes.
And Ransom, this word of command for you, like, is that a natural outgrowth of the role that you've chosen in the Pantheon? Is it an inspiration that's come down to you? How has that appeared?
Yeah, my leadership, I think it has been a growing thing of kind of having led a ship, led the men of that, coming to this town and kind of feeling responsible for them. And here in this battle, this moment, trying to lead the people against these forces, being there as an example that, we are going to get through this. I think that's where it it locked in. I don't know if he's a leader of a pantheon. He's not a Zeus type, but I think he is an inspirational type leader. He is one who tries to lead by example.
Not a Zeus type, but you are the leader. I think that seems fair. That brings us, last but not least, to Tassos. You've had this word of endurance for a little while. At what point did you realize you had this? Had it was something that was always there, or is it something that has manifested recently, or is it something that you created out of dream itself? What do you think? I can't hear you.
I think you should be listening better.
I know. It is my fault.
So I think to a minor degree, it is sort of a reaction to Tassos constantly telling people that they're not made out of people stuff, that they're not made out of organics, that there's weird things inside them, that they're strange plasmic body. I think that had sort of a priming effect. But I think it came in these months sort of in between the campaigns, when they were exploring that dream realm that they were slowly building up. I think there came times when Tassos would descend down and like go play with or explore just a couple of dreams, just seeing how they went and what they could do with them, and came out and it would be like a week later, several weeks later, and their body had just been like stiff, immobile, unmovable, sort of became an inert object, and they started to realize like didn't have to eat during that there wasn't even breathing going on, and this sort of exploration of the energies, the pieces of the dream realm that Tassos has brought back into their body in the physical realm.
Perfect. Yeah, I think, is there a visible manifestation of that?
Not usually, but I think our recent battle was a good example of it. It's not just when Tassos is actively shapeshifting or using that plasmic form gift. Anytime they're injured, underneath their skin is not any form of meat and bone and blood anymore. It's alien and different and probably specific to the situation, shifting like a dream sort of thing.
I like it. Let us come back to you, Threadless. We'll take up after these incidents have occurred. A detente has been established with Unsonic for the moment. We'll come to your discussions and negotiations with him at a later point, because probably your attention is a little more captured by the need to repair and restore and fix and help and aid. So what do we see you doing?
I think that she's sort of identified like the big areas. So she starts out because like the servants housing and all of that stuff there is like right close by the library, correct?
It's so you've got that sort of great walkway that's very open, up to the sort of big locked doors of the library. Yeah, that's gotten very washed out, and that sort of, I don't want to say shanty town, but certainly the housing that had been built there has been ravaged.
Okay, and that's the thing is, I think she comes by and she goes, we'll be back to rebuild. We will make it better. I need you to sketch out the thing of where people are supposed to be and what facilities you need. We will make that happen. But if you could save some of the materials that are still here, the broken pieces and bits, that would be good. It is helpful for me. And she essentially finds that person right there that she would speak to. And she goes, I will be back shortly.
There is a pause, and the servant that is there says, there is a question from one of the people here. And kind of brings forward someone, and you kind of feel that cane of recognition, and he says, "We do not know, those of us who light incense and worship at your altar, what are the funerary rites? We have not." That clearly uncomfortable asking the question. He says, "But several of those who passed were those who have dedicated themselves to your service."
They should. The funerary rites are always as their family has chosen what suits for them. Merely bring some small item of significance to them, to the shrine, and I will lead them on.
And they will nod. And that will kind of settle their mind. What are you actually working on first then?
I'm essentially just going through and with each of the areas of town going, pick your priorities, and then I come back through and I will be using all of my gifts, and I will go until I am exhausted each day, but I will do,
So
essentially.
where do you start?
I literally will do something down at the shipyards, something at the town, something at the servants thing. So I probably have walked from the servants, gone to the town, essentially, and then to the shipyard. So I will build a ship, then I'll come back.
Yeah.
Does that make any
Yeah.
sense?
They
Sort of, I
also
say, "Give me your
need you to
materials."
take down the breakwater as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, what I will use that for is to put down when I use those materials, I will send those out. I will make how do you say? I will drive down foundational pillars into the ground beneath the water, so that the docks that are placed on them will always have something to anchor to and be the stronger for it.
I think at some point while you are doing this, while you're working with that sort of amazing rapidity of the hammer nails, I mean, you are a blur of activity. You will hear, what exactly is it that you are doing? And you turn around and you see that Unsawning is there. He's tall, has that cloak on him, he's kind of watching you, but you notice that someone has very clearly given him a kind of a threadbare parasol that he is holding to keep the sun off of him.
Yeah, and I think I turn to him and I look at the parasol and I sort of touch it and it's repaired. And she goes, "I am making whole what was, and sometimes I am building new."
Shouldn't you just tear it all down?
The storm did a fine job of that. I myself prefer the building to the tearing down, but sometimes tearing down is necessary.
Why are you doing this with your own hands?
Because I am young, and it is easier that way. Certainly when you started to learn magic, weren't there times when it was easier to make the gestures, and now you no longer need to?
No,
No, it's because I never know.
I've
For me-
always been as I am.
Really?
Yes.
Like you just sprung into being and knowing all of the things you know?
Yes.
Interesting. How? I've had a tough road of it then, because I've had to learn it as I go along. And I'll slap them in the
All right. he seems fascinated with this process. Like clearly he's never seen anything actually being built or constructed or even repaired, you guess. So, he parks himself off to the side somewhere that's in a little bit of shade and watches this thing.
All right, that seems reasonable. So, yeah, and I think it's get the dock set and then get the structure up to build a ship inside of. You have to put it on that frame and everything, and build the first one. Most of it is because she has to leave to wait for things to settle before she can actually move it. So tomorrow morning they will move the ship off into the water, and then.
Yeah, a lot of it is also that some of the materials that you have, like they have to be made, and then they have to be finished, and then they have to be processed. There are whole sets of stages there.
Exactly.
Evedra or Devi?
The eternal question. I sense this is evening, so we are more in Ordevi territory.
It is with some relief when you come through this Ordevi that costume, that clown suit that Evedra had put you in seems to have been removed.
Yes.
But it is kind of in the wake of all of this devastation. And there'll be that bit where Tintefa,
Yep.
Right, comes and he's like, oh, it's you.
You were expecting someone else?
I wasn't watching the time. I thought that I might catch Professor Evedra.
My brother is indisposed. What is there something that you need?
It's a question about some academic decisions and things, reassignment of places in the wake of the damage.
Sure I can make a reasonably good call. I'm sure I would say whatever Evedra would say. What seems to be the problem?
And you see him pause, and he's clearly about to say something, and then he goes, well, yes, that seems fine. We'll have you do a first look over on the rearranging of.
I sense that when we've done this in the past, Evedra's been fine with whatever decision I made. Has he yelled at you or come down on you after a decision that I make?
No. Voice cracks a little.
Well, there was that time when we added, profiteroles to the menu in the cafeteria. I thought that was a good decision.
Yes, sometimes, on occasion, what happens is you make a decision, and then the next day, Professor Vedro will review it and will
approve it,
make some changes.
What? I'm gonna have to have a chat with him.
Adjustments, minor things. I didn't want to, but yes, no. Here, essentially, some of the rooms, some of the labs were washed out. We have some areas where cracks were formed from what happened, and we're trying to move things around. Perhaps if you would look over and redeploy people.
Sure. Sure. Are we taking any steps to clear out the flooding or clean up what was destroyed?
We're trying to, as best we have. Again, we don't have a huge staff, but we are trying to do that. And I know that Lady Threadless is dealing with larger issues right now. But
she's very busy.
Yes.
Perhaps
you have skills that would be applicable for this.
The way you said that makes me think you are being sarcastic, but
No, no, Master or Debbie,
I'm just joking. That was me doing an impression of
oh,
it.
geez, swept.
Yeah. Um, um, I um, I think at this point he's tapping into the bureaucracy word, and he's organizing, coming up with a plan to organize folks to kind of most efficiently clean up the school and reestablish the labs to the extent that he can do that without Threadless's help to actually rebuild.
This is a question here. Something that hadn't occurred to me actually until we've gotten to this point. You spoke earlier about how Professor Avedra sees the word of bureaucracy.
Mm.
How does a Debbie have the same view of that, or is it different?
I think it's not too different, but I think his I mean, the word is bureaucracy and not, say, collaboration, right?
Right.
So this is not
Yes.
people who are experiencing joy in working together. But I do think he wants to build bureaucracies that aim for a common good, an outcome that makes people happy, if that makes sense. Like rebuilding the school is
Yeah.
exciting. Saving money on, how we order food for the cafeteria or whatever is not his bag.
Tell me, you get that set. I mean, I think that's a gift. It's a thing that you can do with no problem getting people working. Tell me, amongst the staff that is here, either previously established or someone you want to come up with, who is the staff person who, like, clearly likes our Devi and enjoys our Devi's company and kind of waits until evening to seek you out? Like, clearly dislikes Avedro, but enjoys or Devi's company genuinely.
Most of them.
Most of them, but who is the person who thinks that they're that they see you as a good friend?
Well, so we established the Professor of Souls and the Professor of Dragons, and both of those people look very grim.
Yes,
and more businesslike. So part of me wants to say that this is Ken the Saga, who is one of the assassins, unless someone else has laid claim to this guy, who I think has sort of become a professor in the school.
oh, yeah, that's the leader of the
Azure.
Azures.
Yeah, and I think likes Ordevi because Ivedra is sort of a reminder of what once was in the Assassins.
So the Saga comes down. He has, I mean, you can see he's older amongst it, and I think some of his age showing. But he comes down and he will say, "Ah, Devi, it's good to see you. I know that there was a great clash down below. I'm pleased that you seem to have made it through all right."
Yeah, I barely noticed it happened.
Well, I've set people to work as best I can. Perhaps you'll join me for a drink?
Yes, let's do it. Did we get some of that coffee in that I liked?
Well, I don't know. This is part of what I wish to speak to you of. It had arrived, but it was still on the boats.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Avedro canceled that order, because that happens a lot too. That's okay. I think we can have. Let's have some tea.
Absolutely, and he will sit down with you and will talk with you about how things are going. And he says, "How are you doing?"
How? I'm fine. I'm fine. I am remembering bits and pieces from what happened during the day, and it was clear Ivedro worked really hard and did his best to try and take down some pretty scary beasts, creatures, elementals. But it's, without my brother, I'm nothing. So I'm glad he returned safely.
He says, would your brother say the same?
I think he understands the arrangement.
You are more generous in your assessment of things than perhaps.
Tell me, how do you think this affair with the ghost princess is going to play out?
If I say something, will Avedro know what I have said to you?
It's possible.
Is there a way for that not to happen?
That's a good question. It is difficult to keep secrets from my brother. So if you have opinions that you would rather not him know.
Let us say that I think she is a lovely woman. And I think that she, at the moment, is having a positive effect on Evedro's outlook and personality. And I hope that continues as he wishes it to.
Very well said, my friend. I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't already know when I say that this is his first time in love.
I will make no comment as to that. What about you, or Devi? Have you been in love?
Oh, I have been in love many, many times.
You are a striking man with a hearty and hale personality. I'm sure that that there are those amongst the school here who would find you a companionable person.
It's true, but I am dedicated to my work at the moment, and I'm want to. I don't want to make things complicated for Evedro.
But he has no hesitation about making it complicated for you.
Well, it's his turn.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I will leave off on this point. I don't want to drag you into something. And he will bid you good night and hopes to see you again tomorrow evening.
Excellent.
Ransom, what are you doing in the wake of the storm?
I think I'm using my new gift, and I'm moving amongst the population of the town, kind of encouraging and throwing in a little here and there where I can to help, and trying to hold back a little morale for the peoples, and going to the captains to kind of tell them that I will try to help them recover whatever cargo they had, and perhaps we could salvage some ships. But I know that Threadless is already beginning a process of trying to return ships to you and that sort of thing.
There will be that thing where a couple of the captains will say, we've got Ratal there and Derahai, Bexja. They say, can you explain to us what happened? Like that was not a natural storm. And certainly the gifts that you and your companion showed were not anything we expected. But what was that?
Well, as we knew, there were giants, pirates, creatures of evil that have been plying the seas. And my companions and I wished to make the seas safe. And so we confronted them. And this, unfortunately, was an attempt to punish us. And as you see, we are more resilient than that. And we we are not going to let this stand. We will face off against our foe, and we will end this threat.
You will challenge them again?
We will go to the source and end it, yes.
Will this, should we be worried that this will happen again?
It's my hope not. And we plan to put in certain defenses to make it less vulnerable. This is meant to be a safe port. And I think that considering we did much to alleviate the destruction that could have happened. But we are in a, mark my words, we are in a war against forces terrible and dark. And it is time for every one of us to think to ourselves, where will we stand in this war? Where will we be when the call comes? It is for all of us who ply the seas, all of us of the free brotherhood, to stand against tyranny, to stand against darkness. And I will lead all who will follow to end threats that would put our brotherhood at risk. And I have faith that all of you know that it is the right thing to do, and that this town, this harbor, this island can shine like a beacon across the waves, always beckoning, always offering, and always providing safety.
And I think they're generally like you get them to ignore, forget the dimensions of the problem, and see it as a problem that is dealable with. Like you make it sound like this is a problem that can be handled by them. Then and make them forget that the problem you're talking about is literally an evil god that is turned against them. And I think you do like you get them to feel like, okay, you know, if we all stand together, surely we can stand against this. It's completely untrue, but
well,
you do.
Every little bit helps.
I know, but I'm just saying, like that is the feeling, and I think that we can establish that you've kind of boosted the morale amongst the captains and the sea folk here, and they are certainly ready. As you go out, there will be a, excuse me.
Yes.
And you will see there is a crocodile down below. And he says, the old one wishes to speak with you.
Of course, I will be happy to attend him.
Get on my back and I will take you to him.
Very well. And as I move over, I'll look over to Husk and say, please find out from any captains things that are on their ship that need to be recovered. I'll begin that immediately.
Okay.
And I'll hop on the croc.
The croc says, you may do it in this form, or if you wish to sit as a bird on my head, it is up to you, my lord.
I think I will transform into a gull and ask, what is your name?
That is unimportant.
Oh, what a sad name. You should have a better one. I will peck at any parasites I notice.
And he will swim upriver. And I think as he does, you will get that feeling of changing as you move, like space and time shifts a little. You can tell that this river goes a little ways into myth. And eventually you will arrive at a waterfall that comes down from an ungodly height. The top of it is shrouded in mist. There are statues, enormous statues around that are cracked and crumbling. Men, some with animal faces, some with human faces, these great things. And then down in the kind of the basin where all this is, you will see the crocs kind of drifting in and amongst the feet between the toes of these things that they go into the bay and so on. And there is a kind of a mud plateau where the sun kind of comes down. You will see lots of smaller crocs around, and there is a very large croc, a croc that could swallow you whole.
So not the same one I met that was kind of croc bear.
Correct.
I will transform back, and I will maintain as though I'm on this croc's back, but I'm going to be, light as a feather there. Greetings, great lord of the crocodilians.
Ramhadi.
I am honored. I am Ransom.
Ramhadi means first in the old tongue. Ransom.
It is a great privilege that you have chosen to speak with me.
I know that my cousin listened to me and has come and has settled. He has come and apprised me of the damage.
It was extensive.
What will you do, Ransom?
I will seek out the one who would attack my home, and I will kill him.
I will teach you an art. I will teach you an art. I will give you the gift of it for a time. And then I will take it back into my self. But I will give this to you now. We, the death rolling ones, we, the lurkers below the surface, I will give you an art such that you may sail your ship below the waves.
This is a gift truly priceless.
I ask that a certain portion of those who have passed in what became in the village, those who wish to honor the island, that you consider giving them to my children. I do not force this on you, but if there are those that wish our blessings for their families, that are willing to give them up to us.
We are a people of the sea, and it is long tradition for sailors to be consigned back to the waters. I think this is a tradition that should be honored in the port.
Their souls will still be in your demesnes, but we will give them a new birth. They will be reborn as crocodiles, but their souls will still be in your care.
I see. Well, they could wish for no better progression along the wheel.
That is very true. It is hard to go up to the most perfected state of crocodile. One must have a perfected life or be honored in such a way to become the apex.
I can't argue much. They are about perfect.
We will speak with you again.
I am always happy to hear your words, H.
And then he says a word and it goes into your head, and you know how to speak the magic, how to wrap it around your boat, and how to sail dry with air just below the surface of the water.
Whoa. That's damn awesome.
Tassos, what are you doing in the aftermath of your near-death experience and the theft of your skills?
I mean, the near whatever, that's whatever. But my claws! That's important. I think afterwards, Tassos, I want to check in on Delak and Dala and see how they're faring on their trip across to the continent or through it.
They will tell you that they are walking as they can towards the heart of the place, but there is a maze surrounding the capital in the other space. We have to walk on foot to make our way there.
Can you take me, show me the dreams you've passed, the people you've seen along the way? There's so little context for this land. I would start building points of reference.
And I think, there's the dreams of a milkmaid. There's the slumbers, restless slumbers of a bard gnawing with hunger by the side of the road. There's the sort of aimless thoughts of a half sleeping guard along, and I think you can pick up those pieces as you go along there. Can build
Incorporating, stretching out the dream realm.
Yeah. Then, and I think there is a point at which you will see the realm like ends when you get close to where they're headed towards the capital.
I have been wondering, I wanted to get your input on something.
Sure.
What do you believe is the purpose of fear in the world? If you had the power to reach out and turn it off or on in someone that you saw, why would you? Why wouldn't you? What would you do with it?
We would do nothing.
Why?
Because changing others is what the dark forest wants. It's what the dark heart of the wood wants. We don't want to do that.
People fear things all the time. You're not introducing something unnatural.
But we are changing them.
You're guiding their reactions.
You say that like you're disagreeing with what we are saying.
Do you fear entering this city?
You've told us not to fear. We have no fear. We trust you. You have sent us here. Certainly you would not have sent us into danger or peril.
No more than you can handle. You're something more than the frail creatures you started with, but not untouchable. Be careful. And
Caution is for those who fear.
be smart then. Bring
Fair
as much
enough.
of the realm with you as you can.
We shall do as we can.
Good night. I'll leave them to their dreams or wherever they spend their nighttime.
And I think when you kind of come to, and I imagine that you do this while you're kind of sitting there by outside of the alarms, but seated there by the pit to the night roads.
Yeah,
your
I was just
chambers
thinking
there.
that actually. You know, some cats leaning up and sleeping against me, some like walking across my shoulders obnoxiously.
And you'll open your eyes and you will see that Nuan Lao is there.
Have you decided to cross the night road? It's an interesting passage.
No, that. Have I decided to put my hand below the meat cleaver as it falls? No, I have not decided that. I came to check on you. There was some word that you had taken the brunt of it in whatever conflict happened yesterday.
There was significantly less of me for a while, but captured the thief.
Yes, I've seen the captured thief walking around.
Yes, and several of the ghosts actually returned to the vicinity of their tomb.
A resounding success then.
Exactly. And I hear the town is still there.
It is present. I do appreciate how you can change yourself so malleably as well as the meaning of words. It is a gift that you have.
It is simply a matter of perspective. Reality is what you make of it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you were still alive.
Appreciate that. Can I ask you something?
You will, even if I say no. Go ahead.
Sure enough. What do you think the purpose of fear is in the world?
To keep people from doing truly stupid things.
How?
Because if people are afraid of something, they know to be cautious. They know to be smart around it. Take away someone's fear, then they don't know how to judge or scale things. Fear is a natural part of existence. It is a thing that keeps us alive. And is a tool we use to keep others in their places.
Who would you use that tool on? Who would you bring fear to in this world?
I am not as I was, so I don't know if I can answer that question. I don't know if I have an answer to that question now.
It's something you should figure out, explore for yourself. I think Tassos will stand up from the shedding pile of cats.
She holds out the lint roller.
Thank you. I'll replace it in the sacred vestibule once. And Tassos, let's see, get the last of the cat fur off of their very, very black robes, which just holds all the cat fur.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
This great gaggle of white cats.
Tassos will pat her on the shoulder, sort of clinching her with this like electric feeling of contact between them, and says, I'll be very interested to see what you come up with. And I would like to do something. I would like to anoint her as the High Pontiff of my religion. Just the new sixth level apotheosis.
Here is a question I have for you. Are you asking her before you do this?
No, I just did ask her.
What does it feel like to her? Is she aware that you have done that?
I think certainly whatever like removed connection she had to shape-shifting and that whole aspect of a divine word suddenly becomes much more intimate and sort of like crashes into her. And then I don't know what gaining half a dozen levels feels like.
And I think she will take a step back and she will say, take it back.
Why?
Because you did not ask me if you could do this.
But that's what we were talking about.
No, it is not what we're talking about. You talk in metaphors and illusions, and you talk in your own level. You have no sense of what words mean. You did not ask me for my consent on this. You have made me different than what I was before. And I have come to terms with that. I have adjusted to how I felt about that. But that you would change me again without directly asking me. I know you think you asked me, and that may be the problem.
Very well. Tell me when you've decided to take it up again.
Tell me when you ask me. And I think we'll cut there. Let's nice. See, actually, I like that, Tazos. I hope that was okay in the back and forth there. Okay. Let's take 10. We'll take our break here and then we'll come back. Okay. So let's bring the group together to have a conversation. about where things are at, where they want to go. And then from there, maybe we can do some individual things or some paired off things. But we return in sort of the aftermath of the storm. Time you've spent with that, with the group gathered. Let me ask you this, Threadless. We'll have you kind of lead off the group meeting, but like, how much damage is apparent? Like, what do we see
in our room, our meeting room?
Yeah, let's say that.
I think the thing that is apparent is it's like the walls, and there's clearly been water in it, and like that water has sort of soaked up the, like a ways up the wall on the things, it's more that kind of water logging thing there. And like none of the panels slide right.
Okay.
When you go to open them, if it makes anything, like everything's warped a little.
Yeah. just a little waterlogged there.
And it's a testament to how tired she is that she doesn't do anything about it at this moment. She looks very annoyed, but that's about it.
So what is the tenor of the meeting in the aftermath? Captain, we almost always start with you on like when we do these group things.
I think that Threadless, I really want to thank you very much for all the work you're doing, helping the captains get the ships back. The work we're getting done to try and repair things. I was wondering, would it simplify some of your efforts if I brought the hulls back up from beneath the ocean and they'd be repaired as compared to building anew?
That's what I asked. Yes,
Okay,
yes, that is much easier to repair. It also gives me a base to build what is missing back onto. I will fix it so that it is better than new.
Excellent. I will have them refloated.
There's probably a good chunk of it that you're able to pull the bodies of these things. There's probably a certain amount that was shattered and scattered to the waves, but yeah, doing that will be able to get you a decent chunk.
Good. I will have mentioned what the crocodile god had gifted me with, and we seem to be accumulating more of these archons of the animal world. I think that's positive. When are we meeting? The eternal question, or Debbie or Pedro?
I sense that it was still sort of in the evening, or is this first thing in the morning?
Excellent. I like it in the evening. And a very friendly octopus brought me something that, and I will hand you a bag of coffee beans.
Unbelievable. How did they know? This is great.
I've mentioned for them to look. They're quite bright. We are doing a pretty good job of preparing, but I think we're all in agreement. We have to face the source, and or Devi, your brother is the one who saw it face to face. Do you have any knowledge of it?
Only what he saw. An elemental occupying the body of a enormous storm giant, and we learned that it must consume bodies, and it seems to have been consuming other storm giants. As we were greeting each other, he passed me an idea of maybe infecting a body to maybe make the elemental sick or depowered or something. But we did not have a chance to talk about it in greater detail.
Very interesting. Is this the night after the storm, or is this a couple of days later, Lowell?
Let's say like maybe a day and a night kind of thing. Like,
I'm guessing he's managed to make his spirit roll to take the winds back.
yeah, I would say by this point, yeah.
I was able to steal a piece of his power, but it was only a piece. Anybody have an idea? Should we expand on Evedro and Ordevi's infection concept, or
Yeah, or
let's-
just destroy as many bodies as we can in the vicinity as we approach. And then make sure that we ourselves don't become a host. She kind of looks at Tassos.
I would imagine storm giants are a limited food pool. I think we would be able to find one that we were fairly sure would be going into the mill.
to infect? There are elements of me that worry that these storm giants are tools of this spirit, that they are as much prisoners as they are willing servants. And
Well,
yes,
speaking of tools, didn't Evedro mention some sort of construction? Rather than taking his power source away, what if we took his tools away?
hmm.
He was standing on a tower. Dismantling the tower might take him down.
Are you talking about the storm giants? Trying to win them over or sway them? Is that what you meant, Tassos?
Or the actual physical structure.
Well, I meant he was standing on like a big lightning tower artifact construction thing
Hmm.
that seemed to be channeling, sending part of how he was sending the storm so far, or something. I don't know.
Well, if it is a focusing tool, then having it damaged or destroyed would be another piece in weakening him. Severing or corrupting his power source from his followers would be another piece along those lines, and might bring him to a point where we could face him straight on for the killing blow.
Yes. What timetable are you on for this?
What are your estimates for repairs to decent status here for the town?
The week.
All right. Perhaps we could do a little bit of scouting of the area during that week to get an idea of what's going on there, maybe have an idea of how many followers he has and a better look at this structure. And then and maybe Ordevi and Evedro, Ordevi, you could speak with your brother, meld minds a little to see if there is some sort of infection. Tassos, do you think maybe you could help with that? Could making his followers fear him or fear us sever their devotion in some way?
Maybe pressure could do many things. Fear is not control, it's just an impetus.
If we could, I've seen amongst people that fear can be like an infection. It spreads from person to person until it becomes overwhelming. If we could infect some of his followers with it and they desert him, that could be very effective.
Honestly, they're ships full of constantly raiding storm giants that are presumably teetering on the edge between constant success and being sucked up for battery
Roll.
power. I would imagine fear is a fairly part of their lives.
Well, it was an idea. Looked further into it than Ordevi, and let's shoot for in a week. We will make plans, see where we are, and if we feel capable, then we will try and confront it.
There will be a knock at the meeting room door.
Awesome. I will struggle with the panel to get it open.
Oh, that noise.
And you will see that Unsoning is there. He says, I was told that it was rude to just step in and eavesdrop upon you.
It is. Did you?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, then why don't you come in and eavesdrop from within the room?
I have also often been told this. Mostly I find that it helps if you just nod like you agree or understand what people are saying.
May I suggest
So
you
you're
never
saying
take
that-
advice from Tassos?
So do eavesdrop or don't eavesdrop on you?
Why don't you just come and listen? You can ask questions too.
He says, yes, you all have been very busy with all of your repairing things.
Yes, well, someone punched us with the sky.
It wasn't me, so it doesn't matter to me.
Wasn't you? You had nothing to do with it?
Punching the sky?
Seems to me you knew exactly when it was going to happen.
I felt a disturbance and took advantage of an opportunity. That is what good thieves do. Mind you, good thieves don't get caught by traps, but let's not, that was the next thing to come out of your mouth. So let's not even do that.
Even the best falter every once in a while.
So imagine how much more often you must falter.
Were you talking? Meow.
What did the storm giants offer you to come infiltrate us?
Comes and like points to a chair. May I sit?
Yep, please do. Did you look at any of the
See
books?
him move. He tries to like sit like to be like sinister and a little bit threatening, but the cloak is a little bit long for the chair, and the chair is a little bit wobbly, so it undercuts him a bit. Who is that? Points at Ordevi.
This is
Debbie.
Evedro brother. This is Evedro's brother.
And Lord of this island as well.
Oh,
Well,
so do you all pay fealty to him?
it's more of it's a custodial position. What were you doing in
You're
our
a janitor?
in a manner of speaking? I clean up messes that my brother makes. What were you doing in our basement?
Stealing your stuff.
See, he admits it.
I think we figured it out, yes.
What were you what would your father say if you're not coming back?
Oh, I'm coming back. We just agreed to stop our little fight there for a bit.
Because
Yeah.
you're our prisoner now.
No,
And she sort of stops and says, I am having Harmon pull together some of the books that you will find useful.
there was a bargain struck, a deal made. So
Who
what
sent
are
you for the
talking?
ghosts?
What? Huh? What?
Who sent you for the ghosts?
Oh, my father, the dragon, sent me.
And what is he using them for?
He is using them to help organize his forces.
Ah,
Well,
We
they
had
were supposed to
heard.
be very good heroes.
Who is he attacking with his forces?
He's expanding his domains of influence out from the city of Gesnakai, or Gesnakai. It depends. The regional accent, apparently, all over the place is very unusual.
So is he the Lord of Giznak?
Gesnaki is his.
Ah, so the Vashant who came to visit us, is that a friend of his?
The what?
I believe that she came from Jesnia, and that's who.
Oh,
Arwen
Giznak is
Shaw
different
is
than
attacked.
Jesnia?
Yeah, Arwen Shaw is the country that is the city that he is in, and I believe is in the process of taking over most of that nation.
They used to be one country, and Arwen Shah broke away. Hence, capital is Gesnakai. Northern country is called Gesnia.
And he wages war against the people of Arwen Shaw, and
I don't know if it's war, if they're all fleeing.
as people will do from the dead. And he intends to expand and expand ever outward.
No, I don't think that. I think that, as far as I know, he is merely seizing the region that he was invited into.
By Gesnia.
No, by Arwen Shaw, I imagine.
No, he was invited by the Gesnians. They had old sigils and markers of possession that they used.
That is why she tried to ask for some protections for the dragon.
Or at least no interference.
So
So-
what were you talking about before I came in? You said I could eavesdrop.
Oh, yes, we were talking about the storm giant.
What's a
corrupt-
storm giant?
Oh, okay, then we'll stop back and we'll talk about the storm giants, and we'll say politics on this other part. Pull out a map.
He gets
Very large blue people with terrible hair.
okay. That's much easier for me to grasp.
Yes. So anyway, there's a corrupt storm. It's sort of like a corrupt god thing.
And that's the person who messed up your house
Yes.
and that made it possible that I could come in. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. So
Made it possible so you could come in and fall into our trap.
Though you'd been
I
rather
prefer to not think of it that way.
though you'd been rather successful before they were the storm.
Thank you.
So in fact, I'd say the storm probably led to your downfall.
Tassos had been giving you a horrified "you traitor" look, but looked satisfied again by the turn of.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting. Interesting. I like the shifting of blame there.
mm,
It's not my fault.
of course not. In fact, you should probably seek vengeance upon him.
Absolutely. It is at least not my fault. That's good. That's a start.
You
Those are
think
sort
it
of
would-
arguments that you have to make with your father.
Maybe. Deflates just a little.
In a meta, you did, Sherry, like start the conversation of what happens to dragonlings, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
And
It's that she will not be the one that says his father will certainly kill him. She's going to give him sort of all sorts of essentially books and things that talk about different dragons through the ages and that sort of death and those things. And the other thing is that she is going to probably show him books about pantheons that have a dragon in them.
I suggest you read the information.
Well, that
Phyllis
there were
has
books.
given.
Books that would be. I was told to be books. I will read the books. So it's this storm giant's fault. All of this.
Sure.
Okay.
We were on extra alert, certainly.
All right. Good. So you're going to crush him?
Obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
You're quite good at destroying things, aren't you?
That. Yes. Stealing things, destroying things are two of the many things that I am good at.
Well, if you want to come along.
I'm not as good at seeing through tricks. So is this a trick?
No.
No, we told you. You're a prisoner. You have to come with us.
No, I'm not your prisoner. But anyway,
Definitely, we captured you.
no.
It would give you a chance to exert vengeance upon someone who was a part of your.
I like being vengeful. I don't like
Humiliating
being called a
downfall.
prisoner. See? That I don't like. Vengeance I do like.
I think parolee is more accurate at the moment. Fessos.
I'm still not liking that.
Yes, fine. You're a part of our legal system. You're given your own recognizance under certain restrictions, but should you commit any more horrible crimes against us or break any of the restrictions, we would take you back into full custody.
We would be quite upset if you started stealing things, yes.
Like, when you say stealing things, do you mean stealing things from you for? Or do you mean stealing things in general? Or do you mean stealing cool things that I found around these building? Or what?
Well, A and C are really very much the same, and yes.
Just don't steal anything off the island or from us.
I can't guarantee that,
Look,
but I will
this is
try.
mostly for your own protection. The library has an incredibly violent book return system.
That is very true.
I'm putting that into my head, given what was said about not listening to your advice. So I'm going to register that.
If you would care to accompany us, we would be happy to have you do so. If not, we would like for you to be well informed before any further decision upon your return is made. And that is kind of a weighted statement. There is an element I put to that of,
Because if that sounds like you're threatening me in some way, is that what I'm hearing or no? I just want to make sure because I don't respond well to threats. But
No,
why don't
not
you?
a-
Obviously, you don't recognize them well either.
it is not a threat.
Good. Okay. Well, then we're all set.
Just an explanation of the terms of your imprisonment.
Not imprisoned. Not a prisoner.
You can either stay in our custody and
Rah,
go with
rah,
us,
rah, rah, rah.
or you can be
And she
put,
nods.
you can serve out your term here, reading books.
Fire by. Oh, I will grab a drink.
So are there 4 of you or 5 of you?
Yes.
Okay. Is the pretty ghost woman one of you as well?
No.
Okay.
She's more of a +1/2.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
She's
I
an
know.
associate.
What about the woman who's been tailing me?
Probably part of that book return policy that we discussed earlier.
Okay.
Oh,
So that's a
yeah.
librarian.
Yes. And she goes,
They're very good at hiding that librarian.
yes. And she sort of nods. She goes, yes, they are.
Only seen her out of the corner of my eye.
Ooh, I'm
The
impressed that you did
collections
see.
and reshelving department is highly skilled.
Well, if I'm to stay and assist you, I will require one of those vehicles.
Oh, yes. I can get that set up.
Thank you.
I will. Because
Mind you,
color do you want it
I
to
can move
be?
from shadow to shadow, but
we all can do that. but-
so, fair enough then.
Yes.
He seems a little deflated by that. Well, yeah, it's all right. But I would like one of those metal moving things.
You want one with a black frame or a
Of
red
course.
frame?
Ooh, they see him pause there when you offer the 2 colors. Red.
Make it so.
And you can pull together those books for him.
Good.
And one of the things I think you'll realize quickly, and like if you're working, if your guys are still talking, and you give him a book, he'll go at it. He clearly knows how to read, but you don't think he's ever read before. Because he does, like when he opens it, you see him eyes kind of get wide, and he does that thing where he starts reading and his lips are moving along with it, and he kind of has to stop and kind of get his head together around it.
All right.
But after his interruptions of you, he will go and sit quietly in the corner and read.
And if he's a good boy, he'll get a nice bike for his birthday. Then it sounds like we're in agreement on our tasks ahead. I will begin scouting the area. Anyone who wishes to accompany me, of course, may feel free. Tassos, anything you wish to contribute? Along the idea of like as I go in looking for things that might help you with the situation. Others have sort of tasks at hand.
Not sure.
All right. If you think of anything, please let me know. All right, then. Break. Go, team, go.
No, you're not part of the team.
Oh, sorry. He goes, sits back down. Like you were all like, he's like, big picture, you're going to reach out your hand. Oh, okay. I'll be back here. Let's do another once around of preparations or NPCs you want to talk to or things you want to do here. We should probably move forward to the next daytime so we can have an Evedro scene in this next one. What is next on your plate? Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do? Threadless.
I think one of the things is I have spent 4 domain on an afterlife. Vedro or Debbie had sort of created a waiting room of some sort for the ghosts that were here. But after that, one of the servants asked about those that were faithful. She was like, yeah, I should have a place to lead them, because she had felt that pull that there's some place that they need to go. And so I think like she reads a few books, like sitting there with Sonning, but they're about things about the afterlife and this stuff. And she gets just enough of it to understand how she needs to open the door to that dimension to do that. Like
And
there's something in some of the prayers that sort of give her the sense of that.
and what does your afterlife look like? What is the story that is told for where souls, followers that pass, that are dedicated to you? Where do they end up?
I think it's an archipelago of islands, very much similar to the ones that her mothers were exiled to. And they aren't like an exile. For her followers, they are a blank slate to make of them what they can, what they will, what they wish. And if that makes any sense. And there's that sort of thing of like when she takes the, like each island is a community of its own. And some of them are communities of a community, but others are communities of people of certain natures or desires of things that they wish to do, like to build. It's all going to be, building, perfecting, creating, growing, those things.
What, like we've established in this sort of thing that there are souls that are here kind of tied to the graveyard, so on. We've had that established and brought to your attention there by Tanuja. Are you going and doing something to dedicate some of those souls? Are you leaving them
It has
there?
already said that all they have to do is bring a trinket of that person. So I think that like her followers are already bringing mementos of people who have died in the past as well.
Oh, okay.
Does
So
that make any sense? Like
so
this is
it's-
just something they do. I don't think that Threadless even realizes that to some extent.
So I think that very much the people of the town, a good chunk of them, and the sailors are kind of Ransom people. Some of the people of the town are your people. The scholars, those souls, and the schools. Those are the, like, a lot of those people are Evedra or Devi's people. The people who are a
The
little
assassins are my people because fertility is my demens, though. And that's actually something they follow.
and
Not all of them.
right. No, I think the people who are a little bit touched, who are a little more imaginative and creative and off the bounds, who are maybe a little bit gripped by passions, are Tassos' people. Does that seem fair? People who dream deeply, who inadvertently fall into your demens in some ways, Tassos, just because of who they are and how they imagine themselves. Those are the people that you're building. Tassos has already kind of started to build his afterlife in Dream itself. Yeah, so you can do that. You can get that established, have that sense. It will certainly give the people here something to calm themselves. And again, Ansani kind of watches you do all of this. It seems like he at some point he says, "This seems very wasteful."
How so?
You could be using them.
I could.
Okay. I just want to make sure you knew you were wrong.
And she kind of goes, I care for them, so I would not use them.
I don't understand.
She sort of stops and says, if I cared for you when you died, I would not make you serve me in undeath.
I'm not a prisoner.
And she goes, that's not what I said.
I don't understand what you said. So that's the way I'm taking it. Okay.
Okay. Now,
I'm confused. I'm going to go read.
all right.
If Vedro, let's do a scene with you.
Yeah, I'm all in on researching how we might infect a storm giant, because I'm happy to use them, to take down the storm elemental. And I've added a Professor Shoe.
Mhm.
And I was trying to figure out what to make them a professor of. And so they're right now, they're a professor of the elements.
Okay.
And they're sort of acting as my slightly unwilling sounding board as I'm kind of kicking some ideas around on how we might do this.
Do you have a picture for them?
I was looking for one. I pictured them as sort of like a humanoid rabbit, like Yashad, but rabbit.
Okay.
But I will be
Absolutely.
anything.
So yeah. So Professor Shu is a gabbit, and always a little high strung.
Totally.
It's just, I understand what you're saying. So what precisely is it you want me to say? I'll tell you.
So, all right, let's just take it one step at a time.
Yes.
Storm elemental
Yeah, I've got that.
possesses the body of a storm giant.
Right. I've got that.
In order to feed its power, it must consume others. And I think it's consuming other storm giants. You with me?
May I? Now, I'm about to say something, and I hope that Professor Vedra, that I may beg your pardon in what I'm about to say.
You can beg all you want.
Please pardon me, Professor Vedra, but you gave me a visual description of the incident which occurred.
I did.
That wasn't a storm giant that you saw. That was a cloud giant, given your description. So what seems to be happening, if I may, please, I see the look on your face. If you just bear with me for just a moment or two longer. It seems to me that the storm giants are being used as life force batteries, but that the cloud giants, and there must be other cloud giants, are being used for bodies because they are larger, more fit, and so on. So we have two things that could potentially be infected. One is an energy supply, but then the bodies of these cloud giants, given what you've told me, they are perhaps imprisoned or subdued or suspended somewhere.
I did not. I was all set to put a mark on your record for interrupting me and correcting me.
Yes, absolutely. I understand. I've seen my record.
But I also appreciate your attention to detail and your desire for accuracy.
I'm not sure. Yelled at. I really don't want to be yelled at. That is the worst.
I'm pretty sure it's worse that you interrupted me, though. But that being said, you are on something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If Yeah. Which do you think would be more effective in dispelling the elemental? Infecting the bodies that they are inhabiting, the cloud giants, or infecting their source of fuel?
This is hypothetical because we don't know enough about the situation to make a full assessment, but you've asked me to make a hypothetical.
You don't know enough about the situation. I know plenty.
He's about to say something. They are about to say something, and then they stop themselves. Let's assume that to be true. The energy is less of a potential because they are clearly mediating it through devices and so on. It is translating their life force into something else. So infecting them is probably less direct and less useful.
We should go after the hosts directly.
It does seem that the cloud giants are more. It does seem like the storm giants have been turned already. If you can locate the supply of bodies and destroy them, remove them, rescue them, whatever you would see as a possibility, that does seem like that might be the best plan. But you already knew that. I appreciate you've just had me come to confirm your hypothesis. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Confirm is a strong word.
But your knowledge is so strong. I thought that word is only sufficient.
I'm not excited about having to infect the body of a cloud giant. What would you recommend for doing that? What would you recommend for weakening the cloud giant body? Again, I know the answer. I'm testing you to make sure that your tenure application, when you apply for it in 2 decades, will be complete. Just take your time.
If I'm permitted to take my time, it will be a while because I am a professor of elements and not of. I'm not even sure what the field is. Giantology, giantomancy, giantotop. I don't know.
So you think we should find an expert on giants, or at least search the library? Are you volunteering to search the library for a book on giants?
That seems to be what's happening.
Excellent. I have a young man, Dragonkin, who is really excited about reading now. Perhaps Unsoning can join you in the stacks.
Is that the one I've seen speaking with the ghost princess?
Unsoning's been speaking with my girlfriend, whose name I clearly remember, Anuja. I said,
you see him process this. They work and they parse this through.
Has Tanuja been speaking to Unsoning?
Yes.
Then you must take Unsoning into the stacks.
I will work to those ends.
If you leave him there, I would not be overly concerned. I'm going to go see Tanuja.
Okay. We're going to cut away from this.
Yep.
I'll show the printer. Ransom, let's come back to you. what are you up to?
Ah,
What are you
finding the
up
mute
to?
button.
Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do?
First thing, I am going to spend 1 Dominion as I go about the town and sort of preach seems such a loaded word, but discuss the, tradition and concept of that we are all people of the sea. We come from the waters, we return to the waters, and the idea of we dispose of our dead by putting them back into the sea. We do sea burials. Does that seem like a 1 Dominion? That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like
especially if part of what you're doing is because you are the Lord of Birds, is the idea that you are connecting that those who live in the waters, those who sail rivers, seas, oceans, whatever, that they are connected to the natural world in a particular way, and that there is a cycle of life there. That seems like a reasonable connection for you to make.
So that's part of what I'm doing, is getting that going. And then I want to return to my ship.
It is still intact. Your crew is a little bit larger. You will see that Cam and Mr. Butters and stuff there are a lot of people who leapt onto your ship during the episode, and there are a number of them that have begged for a berth on here, and Mr. Butters and Cam have chosen the best they can without upsetting the other captains.
That's right, proper. And I think I would like to, I'm going to have us just do a bit of a sail out. I want to test out that gift for one thing and see how that works.
What is that? Let's look at that. What do you imagine that is like?
I think that as we get up to speed, and I've already given one rousing speech, but I would like to give another rousing speech, maybe off camera, but to my men, to the crew, to this idea of we've sailed through this and blah 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 blah, heroic good things. Follow me. And is it beginning to feel like my crew are worshipers?
At 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. And so I will let them know during the course of this that we are people of the waters, that even the animals of the waters have spoken to me. The birds of the air speak to me, that we are all one out here in the sea. And this gift has been given. And so as we're sailing along, I think that I go to the wheel and Mr. Butters is there beside me. And I, reaching down to it, I think there is this kind of glow that begins to spread from the wheel and down the deck. And as it rises up the mast, it begins to descend around the hull. And as it reaches the top of the mast, and there's always the birds flying, I think we see the birds sort of come in and light on the spars and the ropes. And that glow, when it hits the top of the mast, sort of expands in this bubble, and we begin to descend. And I think there's a little, natural concern from the crew as I lift a voice. Do not worry. We sail not only above the waves, but below. And we move down and through. And as we do this, I'll look over and say, Mr. Butters, we've been through quite a lot, haven't we?
Yes, sir. Nothing quite like this, sir.
Do you have faith, my friend?
100%, sir.
You have been by my side, and I am so grateful for all you have done. Is there anywhere you will not follow me, my friend?
No.
I'll reach up and pat him on the shoulder, and I'm going to disciple him.
All right. And I think you will see him turn with a certainty to the wheel. And the thing is, when you are below in the bubble, there is a wind. Like the wind that is above is caught down here, and the current of that news below. And while they can't like see above, you can see through the eyes of the birds, and you can direct this, and you will travel through there below the waves. There is the merest ripple on the surface to show that anything is passing below. Just the slightest.
That's neat. I'm very pleased. And as we surface up, there's the general cheer from the men, and we have dolphins jumping to the side, and a whale shoots out of the stream, and the birds are crowding and screaming.
The full Free Willy over the ship.
Yeah, big massive moment as we all cheer. And this was just a short cruise to see it. I'm coming back in, but as the ship goes back in, I am going to attempt to fly towards that structure and scout it. I don't know if that would be at this around, but
probably not this, because that is a multi-day journey.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is the only reason Evedro got there so fast is that his travel is instantaneous.
Yeah, he flew by lightning.
Yeah, because it's hundreds of miles away.
Okay. Then probably it is a better idea for me to send off a flock of birds, and I'll come back and I'll use them once they get there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Tassos, what are you up to?
So we have some new faculty and characters and stuff, and I've not had a chance to meet August Descending, the Professor of Souls.
Absolutely.
So I think Tassos has heard about him, and we'll go track him down.
Oh, hey, you're that scary fucker.
He looks like, is he a dwarf?
Nope, he's just
got
a
a lot of
very
beard.
thick man.
Gotcha.
Hello.
You're the one that knows everything about souls and dead people and things, right?
So there's a difference.
Sure, whatever. I'm sure. I just need a very.
I'm used to condensation. I've been around Evedro. Go on.
No, I just need a very simple answer to a simple question.
That means the question's going to be complicated. Go on.
Do the dead dream, or are the dead themselves dreams? Should I repeat? Do you want to write it down?
No. It depends. The dead dream if they are tied to a faith. They are tied to the expectation and the faithfulness of that. That is how I am told. Those that are unmoored, that are not dedicated, as so many are, either to gods that are dead or tied to ideologies and so on, they exist. They are not dream, They do not dream. They are in waking turmoil and purgatory.
That makes sense. They're too unconnected to exist in any sort of long-term state anywhere. How do you go about connecting them, tying them down? What's the bridge across to them?
There are rituals for dedicating souls, asking them to come into the flock, offering them succor. That's a weird word, isn't it?
I was trying not to. It's odd.
I know. Did you want to drink? I don't know. Can you drink? I've heard you're the most inhuman of the four.
That's very true, but
Mhm.
I do still have a mouth.
Well, I know you have a mouth, but do you drink?
Yes, obviously.
Oh, I don't think it's obvious. People could have mouths and not drink. I don't think it's. Pours you some ale. Here. Yeah.
I see you have a mouth that you've been expelling air with. Do you drink?
Yes. Now that you ask, yes.
See, we're learning so much about each other. Isn't this delightful? We're connected. Do you want to come into my dream realm afterlife?
Not at all.
It may be too late for that.
I'm a scholar. So
Yes, that's why I came to you about the scholarly question about the dead and their dreams.
no, you missed my point. I'm a scholar, and I have seen something of the path that lies and the world that is potentially beyond that Professor Vedro and or Devi offer. I have dedicated myself, as have many of the scholars, to that path. Plus, it's a smart career decision, quite honestly.
Yes, that makes sense. Tenure is granted early to the extremely faithful, as I believe the new tenants will say. But they're perfectly welcome to you after the whole death thing.
What you want,
you'll be mine up until then.
What you want is you want to go and find a shaman or a psychopomp, bring them to your service, and then they can serve as a bridge for you to speak to some of these spirits and use them as a means for bringing them into your fold. I think that's what you want, and that's what you need to do.
There's like a drawn out, uncomfortable moment of silence as Tassos is staring. So the shaman that you're bringing to introduce me to is...
Do you want me to find you a shaman or a psychopomp? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I would feel like under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have to ask. Most people would understand their position in this entire narrative.
He leans back and he says, "Are you asking me?"
You're going to have the most delightful dreams.
I am a dedicated servant and professor of Vedro. Are you asking me?
Would you please find the most qualified...
100%, because you said the magic word. You said please. I thought that you would ask me and not say please, but you said please. I will look into the situation and see what I can do to find someone who has those spiritualist gifts and is also weird enough that they'll be willing to follow you.
Scholars like you, they tend to lead fairly healthy, calm lives. So you figure you have, what, 5, 6 more decades of sleeping nights ahead of you? I look forward to meeting the candidate that you find.
I look forward to speaking with Professor Abedra about our conversations. Or Devi, either one.
Tessos will leave.
Boo, he goes after you leave, like he like does a full body shiver. His beard shakes out. It's like dust in the air from it. Then
The
he
other
takes
side
the
of the
ale,
doorway.
and he do this. And he drinks it down.
Tessos on the other side of the doorway. He'd be a prisoner.
I'm actually going to stop here because I had a bunch of cake and the sugar has burned out of my system. And I'm at that wonky level of the day where I need to stop and catch my breath here. But let's stop here. We will love letter Avedro's conversation with Tanuja for the sort of the in between. We'll kind of figure that out, and we'll have the three of you next time. Let's give you some XP. Let's see here. I think 4 points sounds good. I'll contact HR. Let's do a quick stars wishes. Get some things on the table. We are at, let's see, today is this. So right now, number of sessions wise we have left. Let me check our calendar right here. Open it up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 sessions left in this arc, just to tell you where we're at, okay? Sherry, can I start with you? Stars and wishes?
Sure. I'm really enjoying the puzzle of the dragon boy. He is a strange one. So yeah, this is kind of fun. Tassos was on top of his game. That's all I can say. Full on Tassos. And Tyler, your speech was inspirational. It was. I was like, yes, of course. This makes complete sense. It doesn't, but it makes complete sense. I was with you every moment of the way. And or Devi, Avedro, Dan, you are the worst professor and boss. Oh my God. I don't know. This is the strangest pantheon ever. That's all I can say. I love it. Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know. I just love the sort of weirdness of a dragon NPC at this point. So I hope we put in some time into that for sure.
Anything else wishes wise?
Yeah, do you think I probably want to look at what I need to do to kind of because the library really was pretty smacked up. So probably actually sort of figuring out if she needs to extend her domain over it more so that she actually has some control over its integrity, if that makes sense. I guess if anyone can handle the non-Euclidean geometry of it all, it would be her.
Okay. Professor Avedro or Devi?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I loved it was great to follow up last week's combat with kind of more mundane day in the life of a god type stuff. So thanks for that. And other stars. Yeah, actually, Tyler, your speech was fantastic. I was all in right there. I was right there with you. So thanks for that. And as far as wishes, I feel like I should be doing more with my influence and my domain. So I want to be thinking about that. And
Yeah,
do
let's
some more stuff.
we know you've invested in the school, we know you've invested in reputation. We should talk about like where else you want to extend that. I think that's a really good idea.
I had no idea that the professors were my followers. I thought they were just my employees.
Oh
So
no, eventually they will, I mean, your divine figure, they will come to follow you. A god of knowledge.
we are all, yeah, both Avedro and I don't know, both of us are uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Tyler.
Huge stars on God Croc. I thought that was super fun. Super neat to see these animal god paragon type things. I think that's really cool. Patrick Tassos is such a terrible beer nightmare horror. And such a dick. It is just it is just a marvel to watch. And I loved the several points of, I'm interested to see if a lesson of like consent or this idea of, I want to see where the concept comes in there of how people are treated. Does that change or is it evolve? Or it's just really fascinating all the way through. Was neat to see you dealing with people. And I liked your interactions with the dragon guy. They were very funny. And Sherry, I really liked your interactions with the dragon guy. I thought that was neat in a, good God, bad God sort of dealing with him. That was a really neat stuff. And I think that's where I'm going to bleed towards my wishes. I want to see him, that dragon, come to some realization. I'm interested to see him develop as a character because he seems very neat. And this probably is more of a after we have settled the seas a little. I'm looking forward to seeing the captains and the ships going out from the island and kind of spreading the word of Ransom. I'm looking forward to traffic in and out.
Definitely put some influence in that.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Patrick.
I had fun. This was a good one. Despite Tassos not liking how the conversations with followers, fell out, as Patrick, I really enjoyed that, like, the twins, the kids that are so like wrapped up in Tassos's dream ideology have totally missed Tassos's like beliefs and intents about fear and gave like totally the wrong answer. But that Nuan Lao gave like exactly the answer that Tassos was looking to hear. And then it all went wrong from there. But that was just, that was a really nice moment. Dan, I like watching the evolution and growth of the theocratic bureaucracy of the school and how you were using very much like academic and scholastic threats over this poor little guy, and then like we see the conversation with August ascending, and there's this whole new level of like, oh, but aren't they taking this as the word of their wrathful god? Like, tenure has a much deeper meaning at this point. Tyler, I really loved / absolutely hated the moment where you had like the perfect disciple moment with Butters, and it was all like beautiful and sunlit, and then dolphins danced in the waves and shit, and I'm just like, left brushing cat fur off of my sad basement robe. And Sherry, I also I'll second Tyler. I really enjoyed your other side of the interaction with Dragon Boy, as you were giving like the perfect answers that made him feel very like, yes, this is what I wanted and I'm getting everything, and gave Tassos the feeling of like, yes, we're tying him up and now he'll never escape from our influence. Yes, get him, Dread, let's get him. And it was just it was a wonderful, like, socially well adapted, helpful cop and obstructive cop.
Any wishes?
Oh, wait, am I still here? There we go.
Yeah.
I want to get out and go somewhere off the island. You know, I've been pushing at some of the Dream Realm storylines here, but I think Tassos is getting a bit itchy with, you know, it having been a while since they've been able to get out and spread and incorporate more people. There was something else in there, but it's gone.
Okay. Well, if you think of it, you can always email me.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. I am going to stop the recording.